Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review. Today we're throwing it back to 2015 with the debut album from Red Sun Rising. Whenever they came out, they hit it hard with two hit songs, The Other Side, and then Emotionless. Amnesia was another song that started playing on radio, and that was actually the first song that I ever heard from this band. The reason why I'm going back onto this album is because it's one of my favorite debut albums of all time. Not only that, they have an album on the way which is going to come out on March 30th. I have that pre-ordered, so you can count on that album review coming out right after the album comes out itself. The first song on this album is Push, and this song can start an album, a show, or even introduce you to this band entirely. And it probably did for a lot of people, because a lot of people that are subscribed to my channel might know that it's part of the NASCAR Heat 2 soundtrack. I really feel like it was a great selection for that game. But I really do love the guitar work in this song. It's very powerful. And not even that, I love the tremolo effect that's used throughout the almost entire song. It's a really great effect that highlights the pace of the song. Track number 2 is Amnesia. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this was the first song that I ever heard from Red Sun Rising. It probably came around in late 2016, or at least whenever I first started hearing it, and then once 2017 began, I started getting more intrigued with the rest of this album and all the music that they had created at this point. But even then, it's a song about moving on from, I guess, just an unhealthy relationship, even if the ex is just taunting you and, I guess, asking you to come back to it. In terms of instrumentation, this song seems like a combination of glam metal and grunge, and it's not like extremely fast metal whenever I'm talking about glam metal, but the overall feeling that it has with its select positivity and the amount of confidence it has, they really pull it off. And I guess that's kind of what you want with a song about dealing with the end of a bad relationship. The third song on this album is The Other Side. This was the lead single released 2 days after the album, and I find that rather odd because usually lead singles come out maybe a month or two before an album, and even then, maybe it's just because it was their debut record and they're trying to find a different way into the music scene. But overall, I don't like this song as much as most people probably do, just because it has a very strong similarity to Man in the Box by Alice in Chains, and that's because of the chorus and the melody sung in there. But it's also, at the same time, very different with its lyrical content about, from a third-person view, someone else's courage and whether or not they think they can actually accomplish something. And that whole purpose of trying to accomplish a long-term feat and the frustrations with that, I also want to know what was in mind specifically when they were writing the song. The fourth track on this album is My Muse. This song is basically a continuation of a story begun with tracks 2 and 3, I suppose. And now that you think about it, in track 3, it's talking about trying to accomplish a difficult task. And, well, this song is about trying to get past drug addiction. And it talks about relationship problems and depression and not being able to deal with that properly, as if drugs are going to be the way to get past it. And while it does physically, in your mind it's tricking you and it's not actually healthy, in the end it's just fooling your mind to thinking that it's actually feeling well. And I can relate to that personally because I've seen it secondhand. The chorus to the song is very well written for something that is so straightforward. It's worded very well. And then there's the musicality to it overall. It starts out with a bass riff that has a rad, for lack of a better word, distortion. And they take that to a whole new level whenever it comes down to a breakdown halfway through the song that the whole band surrounds. And it's got this drag to it, a drag of disappointment maybe, that really defines what the song is about. This next song is the most unforgettable song by Red Sun Rising on this entire album. Once you hear it once, you're just not going to be able to forget it. And that is track 5, Emotionless. While I never heard this song on the radio, I heard it after I discovered Amnesia and went looking through their music. And I gotta say, still to this day, it's my favorite song by them. This song has a purpose that stands out to me because it's about an admiration for sleep, where you can imagine how much peace a person is in while they're just asleep and wonder what's going on in their mind. But if you watch the music video, it takes it to a whole new dimension, because then there's relationship therapy where they're going into their dreams to do what they want with their partner that satisfy him. On one end of it, he's dancing with the love of his life and stuff, and when he wakes up, he sees the doctors have their back turned, or whatever you call relationship therapists, and he goes into his wife or his girlfriend's dream and sees her stabbing him, and then he just leaves her for that. And in the lyrical content, you can actually see it at that moment where he says it's disgusting asleep rather than beautiful asleep. But the vocal performance in the song is very strong, because it goes from just being mysterious alongside the musicality, and then it's just very powerful. It slows down again with a guitar breakdown. It's basically the best banger on the entire album. The first fully fledged chorus is built to be such a great experience, and this is definitely a song to listen to out of all the songs on the album. I mean, if I had to pick one, just listen to this one. Track number 6 is Blister, and this song sounds like it could have come from the 90s and been a hit back then, but even now it came from 2015 and still a song that is amazing to me personally. I love the vocal range that you get in this song, because you start out and it's just really deep, expressing some really important lyrics about the struggles of poverty probably, and then it's reiterated towards the end of the song so that they can get the guitar work and the voice can stand out more. That's what I was talking about, the vocal range. I like the whistling that you get at the beginning of the song, and the end of the song kind of reminds me of that environment that Katniss Everdeen lived in whenever the movie starts, at least. And I read the book series too. I actually read the book series before watching practically all the movies. And well, like I said, she kind of lives in poverty at the beginning of those movies, and this song, it really does capture that emotion well. The 7th song on this album is Worlds Away, and this is the start of the second half of the album in my opinion. The first half was just absolutely fantastic. It was, all the songs are 10 out of 10 except for maybe the other side. I give that a 9 out of 10 for Similarities to Man in the Box, but you know what I'm trying to say. This song has this uplifting feeling about it that I really like. It stands out among the other songs on the album just because they all have their different meanings and purposes. But this song starts out with a bass guitar riff with a mysterious feeling to it, and it's kind of similar to how track 4 starts. But then you think about this song overall and how they both establish their points. While they do that the same way, they do it very well, and it's just they're so different at the same time. I'll also tell you a story. Just the day before I'm recording this video, I went to see the 2018 version of A Wrinkle in Time, which is based on a book from 1962, and they've had other movie versions of it made, like in 2003. I went to see that with my girlfriend Kayla, and towards the end of the movie, I started thinking of this song because of what the movie was about. This song is about trying to return to a feeling that was had during such a great experience, or maybe a memory from a long time ago, and it's seeming like a freaking galaxy away, a universe away, and that really connected the dots for me with that movie. So if you haven't seen that movie, you should check it out, and maybe you should try putting 2 and 2 together. For all we know, Red Sun Rising made this song about the book A Wrinkle in Time. Eighth track on this album is Unnatural. It starts out kind of like a Western song, if you ask me. It has that vibe to it. It's another decent hard-rocking track, just like the opening and closing tracks on this album. You can hear the singer talking about lecturing someone who is, I guess, arrogant, has too much ego, and prides themselves a little too much. And while at the same time it might be the weakest song in the album in my opinion, it's still a pretty damn good song that I've, just thought of in some situations, and heck, I've even had the chorus stuck in my head, and it's just amazing to think that the weakest song in the album is still a song that I've had stuck in my head, and I'm proud to say that I would love to have the CD with.
Natural, says natural, you're playing God, and I figured you out. Natural, says natural, you're playing God, and I figured you out. Let's lay this to rest.
Track number 9 is Awake. This song has a guitar riff that reminds me of something from Silver Side Up by Nickelback, and I feel like I'm comparing every freaking album that I reviewed to Nickelback at this point, which is kind of sad. I don't know what to do anymore, but I mean, once you listen to Silver Side Up, you feel like you've heard this guitar riff before. At the same time, the guitar riff that this song starts out with transitions into the opening verses very well. I like the way it does that. And then there's the pre-chorus, which I feel like I've heard before somewhere, maybe on the radio. It just seems really familiar, especially with that high guitar part. While this song is very, very different to Fall Back Down by Rancid, I get that same kind of vibe to it, but on a different level. Mike Protich brings us some lyrical content about how he'll help his friend in a situation where they've fallen down to get them back going again. But once they get back going, they should be able to move on their own and just take care of the situation and, you know, actually live independently.
Watch the rain erase us all through the eyes of the waterfall. I bought the rights to own the air, so I can steal you the blood from me. I will break your fall.
Track number 10 is Bliss, and it starts out with an acoustic guitar riff that's repeated a few times while the opening verses are sung. And that's something very different from everything else in the album, because none of them have this special guitar part or acoustic guitar part like this. But the meaning of this song is something rather familiar to me, because it's about someone claiming that they're ready for anything in life without any actual experiences. So it's just kind of ironic, and if you've taken English class, you might have had to study about this whenever, you know, reading some books and having to do essays and such. But this song just feels like the most musically superior on the entire album because of how it goes from the acoustic guitar riff to the powerful guitar chords to a guitar solo, or not even a guitar solo. I feel like it's a freaking duet of guitars, because it just calms down and you've got these high-pitched guitars, and it's one in the right channel, and then suddenly we've got another one that comes in on the left channel, and it's really cool with headphones, and maybe even if you have a surround sound stereo in a car or something like that, then it's just really, really cool. Mike Protich's vocal range that we had in Blister is actually brought back with this song, so you're hearing how strong it is in this album twice, but you hear how low he's singing whenever he's singing those opening verses, and then he's singing those same verses for a second time later on the song, and it's like 2 or 3 octaves higher, and it's just, good lord, it's amazing. It's just fantastic to hear him go that high. We don't have that many singers that can actually do that. So in terms of musical content, though I do love Emotionless so much, and it's my favorite song by Red Sun Rising, this song definitely is musically superior in my opinion. This last song in this album is not so much strong in lyrical content as it is just the basic meaning, but he sings that trying to be like someone else is not healthy for you. He sings imitation is suicide, and that you should try being yourself instead of just killing yourself and not using your own personality and your own interests to enjoy your life. But even musically, it's a really good song because it's got that adrenaline to it, and it ends it off on a hard note. My final score for Red Sun Rising's 2015 debut album, Polyester Zeal, is a 94%. I don't even have a copy of this CD yet, which is kind of a pain in the ass to even mention. But I've pre-ordered the new album that's coming out on March 30th, and you can do that as well with the link in the description below. You can order this one from Amazon too, and also listen to it on YouTube. I'll give you guys links to that. I said at the beginning of the video, this is one of my favorite debut albums of all time, and I put it alongside Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory, and also Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. But we have another album review on the way that's going to be basically a throwback, and that is Breaking Benjamin's Phobia from 2006, because that's my favorite album by them, one of my favorite albums of all time alongside this one. I'm going to be finding out which one I like more once I've done my scoring for that album. And I'm doing that one because of the new album by Breaking Benjamin coming out in April, and that is Ember. I just don't know how to end off this video because it took so much time to make, but see you next time. That's that, and album review over.